Last Friday night, I watched in shock as XRP's price on Binance suddenly plunged over 50% in mere minutes. Then, at least just as fast, it rocketed back up, leaving me wondering, was this just a freak glitch or something far more sinister? Now, I am an XRP holder myself, and that night felt like watching a crime scene unfold on the charts. Now, in this video today, I'm going to be taking you along on this wild ride that I went through investigating this rather bizarre flash crash. From the moment that panic set in to the clues suggesting that there was more at play here than just a normal bit of market chaos. There's talk of a whale making $100 million off of this crash, a glitch on the world's biggest exchange, and even other coins crashing to almost zero. It's a crazy story that left every crypto investor, or at least something that every crypto investor needs to hear, because if something like this can happen to XRP, well, it can happen to any coin that you hold. And the craziest part? That this supposed crime might have actually set XRP up for something big on the horizon. Stick with me here, because this is one of those crypto mysteries that you just don't want to miss. So, here is how it all went down. It was late on Friday, and I was about to head to bed when my phone started blowing up with all of these alerts. XRP was in a freefall. At first, I thought my app was just glitching out. The price had dropped from around $2.83 to $2 and then to $1.50, and it just kept on going. Now, in the span of just a few hours, XRP had plunged all the way down to roughly $1.25. Now, my brain just couldn't even process it. That's more than half of XRP's value gone in what felt like an instant. Now, I remember frantically checking Twitter for some kind of explanation to this. Was there a massive piece of bad news? Was there a hack? Some kind of new regulation? But there was nothing obvious at that moment, just pure, terrified, and terrifying price action. And just as I was picking up my jaw off of the floor, XRP did the most XRP thing ever. It bounced back like a rubber ball, right? Now, I'm not kidding. Within hours of hitting that low of $1.25, it had shot back up to around $2.40. Eventually, it even nudged the $2.60 area, $2.70 area. So I was basically it basically crashed 56% and then exploded upwards by over 100% from the low. Now, that's all in one single night. So it looked, you look at the candlestick from that chart that night, and it's insane, right? It's just a huge wick, straight down and straight back up again, with this tiny little body to it. Now, it was like watching someone flatline and then miraculously resuscitate, right? Its extreme volatility doesn't even begin to describe what happened. Even the pros were stunned. One well-known trader who goes by the name of Blunts on X posted a screenshot of the XRP chart, bluntly saying, "Some serious crime went down a few days ago." Now, those are his words. So when I saw that, I honestly felt a bit validated, because that's exactly how it felt. Like some shady business had actually happened behind the scenes. So what on earth actually caused this insane crash and rebound? I went on to a full, or at least I went into a full on detective mode in order to find out. At first, there were theories flying around everywhere. Some people pointed to possible technical glitches or a rogue trading algorithm that might have malfunctioned. Others said that it was just the market being the market, a cascade of liquidated trades just unwinding. Basically, a whole lot of people getting liquidated all at once, causing a chain reaction. And then there was the theory that really grabbed my attention, that this was an intentional play by some big-time whale, maybe even with insider info. So here's the story that emerged. Apparently, right before this crash, a large whale opened a massive short position, basically betting that the market would go down. just moments before a major news announcement hit. That announcement, by the way, was President Donald Trump, who unexpectedly revealed a 100% tariff on all Chinese imports, a move that was like throwing a grenade into the global markets. Stocks and crypto both started tanking after that news hit. Now, unless that whale had a crystal ball, it seems that they might have known that that bombshell was coming. They reportedly opened a brand new account that very same day, made this huge bet against crypto, and then everything crashed. They walked away with nearly $100 million in profits within just hours. $100 million in hours. Now, if that doesn't scream suspicious, I don't know what does. So when this came to light, a lot of people in crypto and the crypto community were talking about it. And John Deaton, who you might know of him as the attorney who's been very vocal in the XRP community and even former US Senator candidate, chimed in on X. He basically said, if this story is true, then it needs to be investigated. And I totally agree. It kind of felt like we'd witnessed a bank heist on the blockchain. Now, the tricky part is that some experts pointed out that under certain and current laws, that it might not be technically be even legal in the traditional kind of insider kind of trading sense, right? Because cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and by extension the whole market aren't actually classified as securities and fall into that grey area. But Deaton and others argue that if someone used non-public information to profit like this, then regulators could potentially go after them for fraud or conspiracy, even if the usual insider trading rules do not apply. So there may be a legal net to catch this shark. We'll have to see. Now, aside from the possible whale shenanigans, let's also talk about the cascade effect, those liquidations that I mentioned. Now, this flash crash wiped out an absurd amount of leveraged positions. I read that in total, it was about $19 billion worth of crypto trades that got liquidated across the market that day. So let's think about that number then. $19 billion gone. And about $16 billion of that was long positions, people who were betting on prices going up. So when XRP and other coins started plunging, all of those leveraged long positions started auto-closing, which means that a whole lot of forced selling all at once. It's kind of like an avalanche, right? Once it starts, it just gains momentum. Now, this undoubtedly contributed to how deep the crash went. And if you were using leverage without a wide margin, you basically got wrecked within minutes. It's a harsh reminder of how risky playing with leverage can be in crypto. One moment you're riding high, and the next your position is liquidated because some whale decided to dump or some kind of crazy news hit. And then there's the technical side of things, the glitches. As if a crash and a possible manipulation weren't enough, we also had exchange-related issues. Binance, which is one of the exchanges that I use, had some sort of technical malfunction during all of this chaos. I remember the order books looking wonky, and apparently it wasn't just me either. Binance actually came out later and admitted that they had a glitch that caused a whole bunch of users to suffer extra losses. They ended up reimbursing people something like $280 million in total to cover those losses, which is pretty huge. I mean, it's good on them for making users whole, but it does tell you how badly things went off the rails. You rarely hear about an exchange paying back that much unless something really crazy actually happened on their platform. These combined events, right, the whale betting against the market, the massive liquidations, and the exchange glitch, it created a perfect storm, right? It wasn't just XRP either, right? This was across the board, right? Bitcoin took a dive, Ethereum took a dive, everything was hemorrhaging, right, value before that kind of really brief window. And get this, on Binance, some smaller tokens went to absolutely zero. Take 𝗗𝗍 and Cosmos, for instance. They saw their prices literally drop to near zero, and yes, zero, as in flash crashed into oblivion, right, before bouncing back to normal levels almost instantly. So just imagine holding one of those and seeing the price on the chart say something like 0.05 or something completely out of even lower, out of nowhere, right? You would think that it was completely game over, right? It was like the crypto market broke reality for just a few minutes. Now, obviously, those were not real prices in any kind of lasting sense, likely a result of a glitch or liquidity just evaporating. But it shows how fragile things can get in those extreme moments. And by now, you're probably thinking, this sounds a lot like the Wild West, and honestly, it kind of felt like it, right? It really underscores how unpredictable and lawless crypto trading can feel at certain times. Now, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, so with that important disclaimer out of the way, let's talk about what happened next and how we move forward from an event like this. Right, the crazy thing is that after all of that carnage, XRP basically dusted itself off and carried on. As I speak, it's stabilized above the $2.60 area right now, which is actually higher than it was before the crash actually happened. The market as a whole is finding its feet again. Bitcoin has bounced back, Ethereum is recovering. It's kind of like a bad dream that the whole market just woke up from. And now the narrative is shifting, back from the bullish rebound that we're seeing in early October. Some traders are saying that this is was just like a brief detour, and the XRP is gearing up to rip to a new all-time high. I saw Blunts, the same trader who called the crash a crime, suggesting that XRP could blast off with haste to a new all-time high, basically implying that the big dip was just the gift for those who managed to snag cheap XRP at $1.25. Now, I'm not going full-on hopium here. I'm a believer that a new all-time high is inevitable when I see it, right? And I do think it is just around the corner to a degree. But it is also true that sometimes a shakeout like this, the rebound can be pretty massive too, right? We've seen it happen before in crypto. A huge crash, weak hands get out, strong hands accumulate, and then boom, we're off to the races. Could that be happening now? It's definitely possible, right? I'm cautiously optimistic about it, but I'm also still a little bit rattled if I'm being honest. This whole ordeal has got me thinking hard about how I manage my own crypto journey. One big takeaway for me is to never rely on just one plan or just one platform, right? What do I mean by that? Well, let's just start with exchanges here, right? If you had all of your trading on just one exchange that went down or messed up during a crash, then you were in trouble, right? Binance handled this glitch well by reimbursing people, but just imagine something worse on a different exchange that didn't have deep pockets to cover the losses. That is why I have a personal rule. Always have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and so forth, right? So when it comes to exchanges, I've signed up and completed KYC and even tested withdrawals on a whole bunch of different exchanges. And at any given time, I have access to multiple different platforms where I can trade or cash out if I need to. Now, you never want to be in a position where one of those exchanges freezes up and means that you're completely stuck. Right? Sometimes exchanges go down right when you need them the most. So it's almost a meme at this point, but it is indeed true. It's happened many times in the past. So on that note, I should mention that I have a link that's in the description that goes to my website where I list all of the exchanges that I personally use and have set up. Those links on that website, they are affiliate links, which means that if you do sign up and trade through them, that it supports the channel here. And I really do appreciate that. It costs you nothing extra, by the way. For example, at least two of my go-to exchanges right now are LBank and BitGet. You'll find affiliate links for both of those on the list. Right? Using those links, it helps support what we do here and no extra cost to yourself. So it's a big thank you to anyone who does go over to our website and uses those links. But whether you use the links or not, my point still stands. Consider getting yourself set up on several reputable exchanges just in case. It's like having multiple escape routes in an emergency. Now, beyond exchanges, another thing that I'm doing is diversifying how I earn and participate in crypto, not just relying on one thing like price speculation. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you probably have heard me mention about a project called Unity before. It's something that I'm pretty excited about as it ties in nicely here, because it's just about earning crypto more passively in a way that's not directly related to the mercy of these crazy market swings. But let me explain it really simply. Unity allows you to turn your old mobile phone or even your existing mobile phone into a part of a decentralized network. Think of it like contributing to a decentralized telecoms network, right? And in return, you earn crypto rewards. The cool part is that you're not going to get some random shitcoin you've never heard of. You're going to get the ability to choose what you get paid in, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Zeta, and yes, even XRP is on the list. So I went ahead and I purchased a Unity node, right? And it came with 200 licenses. This was a little while back. And I'm going to connect up, some smartphones to the network and see how things work. Now, I'm not immediately going to hook up 200 phones. No, I'm going to start off small with the 10 phones that I have on the desk, small and sensible. Once the Unity app goes live, that is, and I'm going to plan with the 10 phones that I have here to run that test, to see how the system works, what kind of rewards I can earn, and how stable it is. And if it looks good, then I'll scale it up gradually from there. The idea is that over time, those phones running the Unity app will be earning me more crypto consistently, right? Kind of like staking, which I also do with ADA, for example. We'll have a stake pool for ADA, by the way. If you're interested, check the links in the description. But in this case, they're actually helping verify and, the network. They're testing to see whether you've got good connectivity on your mobile networks, right? AT&T, Do, Vodafone, whatever it may be, right? They're checking to see whether or not there's dead spots and how good the quality of the calls are. And for those tests on your smartphone, you're earning crypto. It's a pretty neat way to stack more crypto passively over time without actually having to trade anything or risk an awful lot. And again, I choose to be earning my rewards in Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA for staking, and XRP, right? Now, which I think is a pretty awesome and neat way to kind of diversify. Basically accumulate more of the cryptocurrencies and the favorite coins that I have on autopilot if all goes well. Now, of course, let me be really clear here. This isn't me telling you to go out and drop all your money on a Unity node. No, you should always do your own research on any project like this. The concept might be relatively new to many of you, right? I've talked about Unity in several videos already, but it is what it is. It's definitely something that I'm doing, as you can see. You've got to check out their light paper. You've got to check out their own reward calculator and do your own research. It's an innovative concept. But like any investment or project, nothing is guaranteed money or anything like that. I'm just treating this as an experiment and a longer-term play. Now, here's a really cool development. I was so intrigued by Unity that I ended up getting a second Unity node recently. And here is the thing. I'm not going to use all of those licenses from that second node myself. Right? I know that not everyone wants to or is able to actually buy and purchase a full master node, right? They aren't necessarily the cheapest thing. But some people might still want to get involved on a much smaller scale, like the 10 devices I have here. So I'm planning to lease out some of those licenses of my second Unity node to members of the community who are interested. It's kind of like splitting a node down, right? You can use a few of my licenses to run the Unity app on your own phones, and you can earn rewards, right? Without having to go and buy the whole node yourself. Now, I'll have more information on how this works on our website. There'll be a link in the description down below, but we'll also discuss it in our free educational Discord server, which is also linked in the description. So if that does pique your interest, then keep an eye out, right? I just think that it's a great way to get more people involved, dip their toes into something like Unity without the huge upfront costs, and it helps me make the most of my second node as well. It is a win-win, hopefully. Alright, I know that Unity is a side quest in the video and a lot of you guys are getting frustrated with it, but I wanted to mention it because it's part of my personal journey, which is what these videos are all about. And it's how I'm dealing with the crypto space's unpredictability. Right? Projects like this help me diversify my involvement in crypto. When markets get crazy or manipulated, it's nice to have something working at least in the background, on the side, that isn't just price go up or price go down. All right, let's bring this back to XRP Saga then. What a ride, right? In the span of just one evening, we saw an absolute extreme of crypto. It was scary, it was exciting, and it left a lot of us with a lot of questions. For XRP holders like me and maybe you, it was a test of our conviction, right? I'll admit, watching the charts nosedive was absolutely terrifying, but seeing it bounce back was equally astonishing and kind of reaffirming of why I'm in crypto in the first place. Because even when things look dire, this space can inspire you in incredible ways. The big lesson that I took away from all of this is to stay vigilant and stay informed. Right? There will always be whales, there will always be insider moves, glitches, or whatever. Right? Things that you and I cannot control. But what we can do is manage our risks and be more prepared. Diversifying your exchange accounts. Consider different strategies like passive incomes, whether that's Unity or staking. And keep tabs on the news, both in and out of crypto, because apparently even political news can crash our market. And build a community around what you're doing, right? I'm grateful that I have a community in our Discord where we can alert each other and break down these events in real time. Right? When you're not alone in this, it's kind of way easier to navigate all of the chaos. Also, let's not forget the silver linings either. Right? After this flash crash, the fact that XRP recovered and is pushing forward could be a sign of strength. Maybe the market shook out the weak hands. Maybe whoever orchestrated this, if anyone did, actually set the stage for a much bigger move upwards. It sounds ironic, but sometimes you need a storm to see what structures are solid. Now, XRP proved that it has some serious support and community belief behind it. And if we do head towards new highs in the coming weeks or months, then we're going to look back at this crazy Friday night as just a blip, albeit a very dramatic blip, on our own journeys to new all-time highs. So, am I still an XRP holder after all of this? You bet I am. If anything, I'm more motivated to keep on digging, to keep on learning, and to keep sharing what I find with all of you guys. Because days like that remind me why I started this channel, to navigate the wild world of crypto together, to learn from big moments, the good and the bad, and to hopefully come out the other side smarter and maybe even a little bit wealthier. So if you have stuck with me this far, then I genuinely do appreciate it. This video was a little bit of an emotional roller coaster to make, but I hope that it shed some light on what actually happened and gave you some ideas on how to handle these kind of situations. So for now, don't forget to smash the like button, hit subscribe for more stories, and I'll catch you all in the next one.